Hello and welcome to today's video on breathing. Now, oxygen is extremely important, and without it our brains will begin to die after just 3 minutes, so it's crucial we're getting enough oxygen. There are over 20 negative aspects or symptoms related to an incorrect breathing pattern. One off the top of my head would be the reliance on our secondary respiratory muscles in our neck and shoulders and chest, which creates a lot of dysfunction in these muscles and the surrounding muscles, causing neck pain and headaches. Now, on to our first point, which is our response to breathing. As breathing is at the heart of our autonomic nervous system, it actually has two aspects known as the parasympathetic, or rest, digest and eliminate, and sympathetic, which is to do with fight or flight. Now, I'll touch on it later, where I'm going to show you a technique to activate your parasympathetic system using breathing. But an incorrect breathing pattern has also been linked to causing a sympathetic response in the body, which can increase inflammation and totally suppress our immune system. As back in the day when we're in the wild, if we're being chased by a lion, we're not worried about fighting off any bacteria or viruses, so it totally gets suppressed. Now, our breath also affects our blood pH, and oxygen is used to buffer out acidity in the blood. So an example of this would be you have some simple sugars, a couple of teaspoons of sugar in your tea or chocolate bar. This decreases blood pH or increases its acidity, which means we need more oxygen to buffer out the acidity. So we have to increase our breathing rate. Now, if we can't use a full breath, we'll use rapid shallow breaths, and this will actually cause a sympathetic response again, as previously mentioned, causing a stress response every time we are having some simple sugars. So it's something we have to be aware of and make sure we correct, because it can cause havoc in our daily lives. The next point is our breath and diaphragm work as a pumping mechanism within the body, which is very important. So our diaphragm is like an umbrella just below our lungs, and when it contracts, it flattens, which massages and puts pressure on and off all our organs in our stomach and our liver, our kidneys, which allows blood flow to increase. It helps digestion, it helps organs function optimally, but more importantly, it supports the lymphatic system, which helps remove and carry toxins from glands and organs around the body. So if our lymphatic system is not working optimally, it's at the heart of our immune response, as it's to do with removal of toxins. So if we're not removing toxins efficiently and carrying them around the body, because we're missing out this vital pumping mechanism, then our immunity is in jeopardy. Now, most people only get 2/3 of a breath, and this can be due to many reasons, from poor posture to holding on trauma or tension, specifically tension in the abdomen. They might have a functioning core. There's so many reasons I see on a daily basis. So what do we do to combat this? We need to be using our diaphragm. So I'm going to run you through the basics of a proper diaphragmatic breath with a real simple thing that you can use at home. So I want you to take one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest, and then we need to be taking the first 2/3 of our breath into our belly and the last third into our chest. So you can just give that a go now. So when we do that, that's a full breath performed properly that activates the parasympathetic system, especially if we use our nose, because there's little receptors in there that trigger the parasympathetic state. So if you're always breathing through your mouth, you're causing a stress response in your body, which is switching your immune system off. Now, another point to point out is to take your little fingers, your thumbs, and place them on the base of your rib cage. And you want to expand, when you're breathing into your belly, you want to expand your rib cage into your fingers as well. So we're breathing not only into the front, we're also breathing into the sides and the back as our rib cage is fully expanded. Now this is really important as well, as our kidneys are just underneath our rib cage, and on top of there are our adrenal glands. And with every breath, like I mentioned, the pumping mechanism will actually massage the adrenal glands, which is to do with cortisol release and adrenaline release, or the fight or flight response. So every time we're doing a proper breath, we're massaging it and really relaxing them so we can stay in a parasympathetic state throughout the day. Now, tips on correcting your breathing, as it's something you can't just correct overnight. We need to practice the full diaphragmatic breaths using our hands. But then a tip that I use with our health and lifestyle clients is centering breaths. Now, these are really easy and a really quick way to keep your breath grounded throughout the day. So what you can do is take a string, tie it around your belly when you're fully exhaled, and then it gives us a biofeedback with every breath to make sure we can feel our diaphragm and our bellies expanding. Then I get them to set a timer on their clock for every hour, and then when it goes off, you'll perform 12 centering breaths against the string, and you can really reset your breathing technique over the course of a few weeks and notice some massive changes. Now, a video I'm going to do at the end is a breathing technique that I use to trigger the parasympathetic state with my clients when I'm treating them in the clinic, or if people are really stressed. And it's the 4-7-8 technique, and it's really good for resetting your parasympathetic nervous system or your autonomic nervous system, and just getting you into a relaxed state. As mentioned in the previous video, this is a great one to do before bed. So stay tuned and look forward to our next video where we're going to talk about movement.